Hello everyone, I'm Trisha, it's me Jenny. It's time for another Not Naked video response to Trisha Hershberger's series The Naked Truth, where we talk as candidly and as truthfully as possible about a subject of her choosing, straight out the shower, no makeup, wet hair, first take, one take, etc, etc. Most people choose to do it naked, but I choose not to, but either way it's not a sexy time thing, it's a tool for the vlogger to be vulnerable and honest, and I feel vulnerable enough in my PJs, so there we go. And today's subject is a nice, fun, interesting one, which is baby names. So kind of when it comes to specifically, as Trisha asked, picking baby names from fantasy or sci-fi series, the thing that kind of I apply to it is a similar way to how I would apply to choosing a cosplay character. Apart from minus the having to like the costume aspect, you have to like the character. And there's a difference between like enjoying the character being the story and actually liking the character themselves. Like my rule is, would I actually want to have a cup of tea with that person? Like it's all well and good when you adore the villains, but naming a child after a villain is not so good. Like it's really, like you can really enjoy a presence of a character on screen, but would you really want a baby growing up with like Darth Vader as a name or something similar? So that kind of applies. So do you like the character? Do you like them on screen? Do you enjoy their presence on screen? But would you actually want to sit down with that character and discuss their life story? Then character treatment, which is a very complicated one, because you can really... Actually, I'll skip to the third one and then I can go back to my second one. The third one is, do you like the series or the book? Now, obviously you wouldn't even look at a series if you didn't like the series, but it goes into the whole thing of, you know, you can maybe really like a character, but if you don't like the world they're in, it kind of sucks. So the third one is, you know, do you like the series? Are you invested in the series? Do you like the other characters in the series? Or books or TV or film or whatever. It's usually franchises that we're talking about with fantasy and sci-fi, so do you like it? That shouldn't be number 3, but it is. So be it. I'm tired. Number 2 goes into, if you like the series, you like the world, you like the character, character treatment can be a make or break thing, because a character can be amazing, the world they live in can be amazing, but if the story does everything in their power to make this character a victim, or make stupid decisions which as a character they wouldn't make, but because the story needed them to, they do, then don't name your baby after that. My go-to example is Padme. I adore Padme, I think she's amazing, but the fact that the character was like, she's got to get with Anakin, the story kind of just messed with that character. And there's a lot of characters that I can talk about where, you know, they are really amazing characters, but their character treatment is awful. That makes you like want to hate the character because they're constantly abused by the writers. So, you know, take that into account. Like the character, like the personality of the character, like the world they're in, and like how the world treats that person, because you don't really want to have negative associations about how your child might be brought up in that association. Then it comes to like classic versus non-classic names. So say you choose it from a franchise and it's a name that, you know, you can associate with a franchise but doesn't mean anything to the wider world. So it's kind of like a nice little in-joke. Like, for example, Jon Snow from Game of Thrones, Sam. You know, those ones work in both ways, which is kind of perfect because you can have that little kind of winky thought in the back of your brain like, oh, I'm thinking of that series, that's amazing. Game of Thrones is great for that. It's really great because a lot of the names that are used in that are edits on common names like Eddard. I've never heard the word Eddard before, but I know what Ned is. I know Ned is a quite common name, if a little bit archaic. Like things like the way they spell some names, like John, Jon instead of John, that sort of thing, where you can get the references without making a big deal of it. That being said, you know, obviously the world is not the friendliest in Game of Thrones, so, you know, wait till the series comes out and see whether or not that character is horribly treated or dies. That's a good thought. I'm rambling a lot. For me, I've always liked the classics. I really, really love, like, I've always liked the name Elizabeth, because then you can have a little baby Bethany or a little baby Lizzie, or, you know, if you're really angry, a little baby Eliza. And, like, the classic names leave a lot of openness for nicknames and whatnot, but, you know, hopefully it'll be nicknames that they've chosen. Similarly, I have a thing about Arthur. I don't know if I could ever name a baby Arthur, but both my granddads on both sides of the families were Arthur, so I can't really, you know, shut that down. And when it comes to naming children something that they might not like, I have a lot of relatives who have given names and chosen names. I'm not going to go into what relation they are. I know someone whose given name was Gwendolyn and chose to be known as Margaret for her entire life. I know someone whose given name is Alfred but chose to go by John his entire life. I know someone whose given name is Sarah but chose to go by Mirinda for her entire life. And I didn't know those were their real names for a long time. So, you know, in the end it really is full choice, whether it's a choice to have a nickname or choice to have a chosen name or whatever. You know, if your child doesn't like their name, then that is something that they can choose to change. And there is nicknames, there's, you know, specific ones. I'm technically a Jennifer, but I've never ever been a Jennifer. I've always been a Jenny. People occasionally call me Jen and I don't mind it, but I don't get that very often. I've always just been a Jenny. So names they're fixed, but they're also flexible. Yeah, I don't know whether or not that helped at all. I can't think of any good examples of actual names that I can give you because it's a very personal thing for you, it's a very personal thing for your child and for your partner. And I probably wouldn't have the confidence to ask the internet for advice. It would be a discussion between the three of us, you know. A, B and C, if that situation were to ever occur. And as I've said in several previous videos, the chance of me producing offspring any time ever is not particularly high and not anywhere in the next decade. But those are my thoughts. Yeah. There's a lot of really great franchises out there. I think probably my go-to place, at least for the moment because I'm rereading, I love his the Discworld series, so there's a lot of very silly names in that. Like I love Mortimer, who's shortened to Mort, which is of course so many different meanings in that, especially in a book about death. But you know, that sort of thing where you can, you know, there's enough reading material out there, you can find a name that you love, that you can choose to associate with your child. Just make sure you don't choose one that for someone that you don't like. Like, I have a couple of people that I haven't particularly gotten on with in my life, and I don't think I could ever choose to name my child after that, because I'd have bad associations. Even though most of my associations in the future would be given to that child, they wouldn't be there for the get-go. Anyway, this has been a very long, rambly video. My brain is not fully functioning at all this week. So yeah, thank you for watching. Feel free to comment, and I'll see you guys all when I do. Bye for now.